Today is the last day of November 30th, 2023. I'm Noah Adler, and here's Connor Dolan. We're back with a new episode of the Flame and Talk podcast as a part of the Hockey Podcast Network. What do we talk about today? So I guess we're going to talk about the fact that the Flames are in a playoff spot. That's not possible. And then we're going to also talk about the possibility that now the Flames may not trade any of their pending UFAs. That and a lot more. Oh, sorry. Sorry, folks. On this new edition. Anyway, we'll just get this started. And hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 13 of the Flame and Talk podcast with your host, myself, Noah Adler, and Connor Dolan. So, by the way, we're recording this episode at, I want to say, 9:34 a.m. Local time here today. We were going to do it yesterday, but we just decided, you know what, let's just do it this morning, Thursday morning here early. But anyway, that's enough of me talking. Connor, my man, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, so did we expect after the horrendous start that this team is somehow in the
Yes.
playoffs?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna say yeah, because we had a resurgence with the new guys, which is fantastic, great. And now what we're doing is we're doing the same thing that we did last year, which is go and win one and then lose one, and then always be in the middle of the pack. So we're doing exactly like we did last year, and we're screwing ourselves. So no, actually, I did expect this because, like it was told, or like what I think it was a Vancouver reporter saying that they don't want to trade because they're winning. This is the same thing that's just going to happen this year and next year and for the next 10 years.
Well, the tank season talk was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, nope.
And
unless the Flames all of a sudden want to go on a 10-game lose streak,
let's be honest here though. The gauntlet 15 games that this team has, it's only 3 games in. Mm-hmm. Right? It's 2-1, right? And people are all of a sudden, overhyping this team again and being like, oh my God, this team is actually legit. They're actually something. They're actually a potential playoff team. I mean, listen, were they capable of making the playoffs? Sure. I still don't see them finishing with a great record on this 15 games gauntlet. I just don't. And that might be possibly me being naive. But I guess what I'm saying is I wouldn't be surprised if they had a good record in the 15-game gauntlet, and I wouldn't be surprised if the 15-game gauntlet turned sideways for them. And the sideways thing is what we're all hoping for right now because Rick Dwally reported yesterday that apparently he's hearing that the Canucks are all in on Zadorov, but the Flames are not willing to trade him right now because they're winning games.
And apparently,
this right there. So go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Connor.
No, it's just saying the Leafs are looking at either Tanev or Zadorov as well. We're looking for a defenseman. So we'll see.
I'm telling you, man, this is the fear I had about winning games. Was that this was going to completely change the mindset in the organization. And I'm sorry. People can tell me that I need to have patience and all this other stuff, but I don't trust his ownership group. And I've said all along, I do not trust Murray Edwards. I do not trust John Bean. I do not trust him to do the right thing. I just don't. I just don't. And the reality is that as we've said a couple times before, do you really think ownership's going to give them the green light to sell if they're competing for a playoff spot? No fucking way. There's no way they're going to do that.
They are struggling. They are struggling to keep a second wild card spot. I mean, even though it's quarter of the year, they're struggling to keep a second wild card spot. Last year, at around the halfway point, we were in the first wild card spot, and then we fell out of favor, and then we kind of were at that 10th, 9th or 10th in the West for the rest of the year.
They are closer to the bottom than they are to the top. That's the thing, right? And you can tell me all you want that they're in a playoff spot, but they're still 4 or 5 points away from being near the bottom of the league. Which is why Which is why right now I'm telling all of you right here, right now, that I don't buy it that this is going to continue to be sustainable. Because as much as the young kids have come up and they've been great. And don't get me wrong, I've loved Zari, I've loved Pospisil, and I'd love to see Coronado being brought up again. And at some point, please, for the love of God, please bring up Dustin Wolf.
I'm afraid.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm afraid with what they're going to do with Coronado. Firstly, because obviously they don't have any real cap space, and they don't have anybody that they want to really send down, which is odd because they could just get rid of Dubé, but we don't. But they have an obsession with him, and they love him for whatever reason.
You saw that post last night, right?
Mm-hmm.
That had to have been the most tone deaf thing I've ever seen from the admin. It was bad on so many levels. And I'm just like, how the fuck can you possibly disgrace Lanny McDonald like this?
Oh, they spat in his face.
Idiots.
They spat in his face. But
it's just like, why? Like, what's the point of this post? what is the obsession with Dylan Dubé? Does he really have dirt on you guys in which you can't release him or some shit like that?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
Yeah. But afterwards, I was looking, and I'm continuing to try and think about it. I'm just like, okay, so what if, Coronado plays for his first 5 or 6 games, isn't being played, isn't being called up. There's nobody that they're wanting to send back down, even though there's a lot of candidates that I can think of off the top of my head immediately. So what are we going to do with him? Are we going to like what is, and again, my big worry is that this is going to be, if we do well on this long road trip, we are officially screwed. We are screwed for the next, depending on how long some of these pending UFAs are going to be, we are screwed forever, however long that we decide to keep some of these UFAs or decide to extend them. Because I know we will extend them. I know that we will extend Lindholm for a shitload of money.
Can I just say this too? Can I just add this on as well?
Yeah.
For a quick second.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and people are saying, you got to have patience with the management group. Oh, okay. So why did they offer Noah Hannafin $7.5 million a year? And then why did they possibly offer Elias Lindholm $9 million a year too? I'm just saying, I get where patience needs to come in, man, but I just don't trust it. I really don't. And especially with ownership being in the earful of management, I don't trust it, man. I really, really don't. And I'll say this too, man. This is going to test the fan base. This really will.
I am surprised that the Flames are still, like, again, I would say, this is going to piss off a lot of people. I would say again that if it weren't for a new building being put up, I would say relocate, because I'm not going to deal with a team or an ownership that is this fucking incompetent and this big of fucking idiots. Like each and every single one of them up there. Not Craig, because I'm sure that he would like to actually do something. He would actually like to trade, to move pieces around. But ownership are probably saying, no, we are winning. But of course, he has to probably announce that and say, no, we're winning. But that's probably the ownership's.
The thing that ownership with the Calgary Flames cares about and only cares about is the bottom line. That's it. They don't care about what you need to do to win. They don't care about all these other things. They don't give a fuck. Do people seriously think they give a fuck about the fans? No, they don't give a fucking rat's ass about the fans. Not one bit. Not one bit. They don't fucking care. And the reality of the situation is they make the fan base feel worthless.
Because they think the team is worthless. They think the team is worthless. They think the fan base is worthless, and they think of everybody. The only worth that they see is how much money they make out of the whole year. But they don't see the city as worth very much, which is why they're making sure to screw with this as much as they can, to intervene as much as they can, because with any kind of good decision.
Sorry. Continue. Sorry.
No, I don't know.
It's funny because Robert, who we talked to, I want to say almost a month ago now, Robert from Flames Nation, Rain of Fire CGY, was on Game Over with Audie, and he basically was saying that when it comes to the Calgary Flames this year in particular, there's just no emotional interest. And I'm the same way. I'm watching games. Of course I'm watching games. But I feel no emotional interest. I just don't feel in it. Right? When it comes to it. Because it all comes back to what are we doing here? Like, what direction are we going? And the problem is the more you keep winning, the more ownership's gonna feel as if, oh yeah, we don't need to do this, we don't need to do that. Extend all of them. And that's my fears. What are we doing here? Like, where are we going here as a franchise? And still, it's only 3 games into the gauntlet, so we don't know. We really don't know what's going to happen the rest of the way. Sure, but again, people have to understand. A lot of people, including me and this fan base, just do not trust this ownership group at all to do the right thing when it's all said and done. We just don't. And you're probably in the same boat as I am in that respect.
At this point, I say, why should I care if they don't? Right? But that's the issue. That why when it comes to this group, at the end of the year, I would not be surprised if a bunch of people decide to throw their jerseys over the boards. Because
what? Sorry.
At the end of the year, because I know what will happen is that we'll go 9th once again, 9th or 10th in the West. I would not be surprised if people decide to throw their jerseys over the boards, because we've probably extended a whole bunch of our pending UFAs. We've probably done a bunch of, and we're going to be having to get used to what we're probably seeing on the ice, with either being 9th, 10th in the league, and we're going to have no cap space for anybody new. Our Coronado will probably either A, want out, or B, won't ever be able to play again. We'll have Pospisil and Zari that they'll probably want to trade for something they think probably somebody better. All of our draft picks, they'll trade for veteran players who they think is going to be doing a lot for the team, when it's going to be maybe another 3 different Hubertos, probably. So you know what? If I wanted to be the San Jose Sharks, I would have gone to
They'd be
San
worse than the
Jose.
San Jose Sharks. I
Yeah,
gotta tell you that if they kept all their UFAs, they would be in a way worse spot than the Sharks are.
if I went to be if I want to be Colorado Avalanche, the 20 was it 2015?
It was 2017.
Oh, 2017. Yeah, if I wanted to be 2017 Colorado Avalanche,
I actually want
would-
them to be the 2017 Colorado Avalanche. I want them to be that bad because then it's like, okay, for once we have a direction and we're actually going to be going somewhere here. Like, what are like
no.
what? I mean, not to the point where you're like unintentionally trying to be bad, but please, for the love of God, just be bad. If you're going to be bad, just be bad.
Well, even if we do become bad, I know what they'll do is that they'll look at is they won't look at we need new guys. They'll say, oh, we need new veteran players. So I don't trust. You know what? At this point, I don't even trust them with Team Tank. I don't care about Team Tank anymore. I don't care about Team Win. I know what direction this is heading in.
They don't. Here's the thing about here's the story of being a Calgary Flames fan. They don't know how to win properly, and they don't know how to be great properly, and they don't know how to be bad properly, and they don't know how to suck properly. This is a team that just never is able to figure it out, and they're always in their own way. And I don't think that's going to change. I'm quite honest with you; it's not going to change. And for people who are curious as to, oh, why aren't you more excited that they're winning games? That's why. That's the exact reason why. Because we all know how this is going to
end. And again, I'm not even excited for if they lose. They're owned by a bunch of greedy pieces of shit who want nothing more than to suck all the money out of this organization.
You're also talking to a Yankee fan here who knows that too well too.
They also want to suck the life out of a city who they're already barely hanging on to hope that this team is going to evolve in some way.
Yeah.
I'm not. Again, I don't. Why I say these things. Why I said something about Murray Edwards reminding me of Harold Ballard outside of the whole pedophilia and the xenophobia and the racism and whatnot. Why he reminds me of it is because he's what he cares about is playoff revenue. And if his team can barely make the playoffs, that's good enough for him because guess what? That gets people to go to playoff games. He doesn't care. He doesn't want to care. He is there to simply screw us and to screw the organization. And I hope we could have Jerome Ginlett too as a GM as well. Like, it won't matter about what kind of GM we get because as long as all those three fuckers up there just decide to run the show, it all comes burning and crashing down. Just like the Saddle Dome, it really starts to crumble down.
Yeah. And that's why for me personally, like I just, again, I'm gonna keep repeating myself, but I just don't truly trust his ownership. I just don't. So for people who are saying, you need to have patience with these trades, I'm sorry, it has nothing to do with Connie. It has a lot more to do with whether or not ownership is speaking in her ear. And I just don't trust it. I'm very pessimistic of where this thing is going. I really am because the more you keep winning, the more it is that it's going to push the narrative to ownership that, oh yeah, this team is actually good. Let's extend all these guys. And as I've said too, like I think this is going to test the fan base more than it ever has before. And I really think, especially with all the attendance going down right now at the Saddledome, I think you're gonna lose fans if you extend all of them. You really will. And people in the city also, to an extent, don't have the balls to like revolt and protest against this team, but it's like, I don't know, man.
Just because I just
I
don't
don't know,
think
man. I think we're getting close to that point.
Well, revolts. I think why people haven't revolted before is because we haven't like we've seen we don't care anymore. We don't want to deal with their shit. We're done. We're done. So, and by the way, for anybody first of all, I want to say it's a good thing that I'm not a journalist, or I'm not, I don't write for any sports, because if I was like this, while I'm trying to do interviews or I'm trying to write an article, oh man, I would be the worst.
I would be the worst too. Dude, I would be better than you are. I'm literally the one who's also at times bashing journalists and whatnot for not asking tougher questions.
Oh,
but anyway, we'll take a quick recess here to talk about our sponsor here on the Flame and Talk podcast, but also the Hockey Podcast Network. This episode and every other episode of the Flame and Talk podcast is presented by DraftKings. So I think me and Connor speak for all of you where we say that you should absolutely bet on the action with DraftKings Sportsbook, and we highly recommend you to download the app now and use the code THPN. New customers could get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN only in DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. And if people want to know the odds makers for tonight's Flames Stars game, because the Flames are back in action tonight against the Dallas Stars, looks as if the Flames are a plus 1.5 minus 205 favorites in that game.
All right. Well,
so interesting stuff there. But it turns out Dallas is the overall favorite at minus 135, and the Flames have plus 114. But if we want to look at more odds here, let's have a look at Shohei Ohtani for a second here, because he's the biggest free agent name in all of baseball right now, and he's going to be getting the richest North American sports contract ever, possibly $500 million or more, which is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, basically. And so the Dodgers are labeled as the favorites at plus 115. Cubs right behind him at plus 350, and then the Rangers plus 650. But not sure if that's going to happen considering they're now out of the race. But I guess we'll see where that goes. And it's an official sportsman partner of the NHL, DraftKings, and the crown is yours. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus ages varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. The NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2023, all rights reserved.
You can tell that we need to, for when it comes to gambling, especially, we need to make sure that we're clear and focused, saying, hey, you can gamble, you can bet on games, but make sure that you're responsible. We need to do a lot of. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
We need to make sure that we're very clear that we encourage you guys to bet on games. We encourage you guys, but we always have to do our little thing of, hey, by the way, this isn't Vegas, so don't spend your life savings. So, but yeah, no, we just try and.
By the way, I forgot to mention, I don't know Tony, but my New York Yankees have the 7th best odds, which is again very unlikely. But damn, I wish I saw what those Juan Soto trade odds were though, because
I don't.
I need Juan Soto in the Yankee. Because this is why. Because people are wondering why is he wearing a Yankee jersey on the podcast. I need Juan Soto and Yamamoto on the Yankees badly. So if I'm gonna wear my jersey once a day to make sure that happens to manifest it, then I'm gonna fucking do it. I don't care. But should we talk about the game against Vegas?
Sure.
All right. So the Flames win a pretty dramatic overtime game against the Vegas Golden Knights on Monday night. Jeez.
4 minutes 55 seconds of nonstop.
Well, I know
basically all 4-on-4.
Well, and we thought that early in the game that the E-Bug goalie had to come in and replace Dan Vladar, and I just would have been like, "Oh boy, this is gonna be a flamesy night, folks."
Was it Carrier or Kirchier? Was that his name?
No, Dusty Nickel.
No. I mean, who ran into him?
Vladar.
Was it Kirchier?
It's something like that.
I Carrier or Kirchier. Anyways, one of the guys.
I can't remember his name, but something like that. But people were saying it was intentional. That it looked intentional, that play.
I think that he meant to go into him. It's hard to say. I think there was a little bit of intention to try and hit Vladar. I don't think it was going to be like that hard, but I think there was a little bit of intention to say, "Hey, by the way, I'm here, and I could hurt you. I can hurt you pretty bad." I don't know, because he's like, you have a really nice E-Bug. It would really suck if it was not like a Scott Foster or David Ayres type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
And instead that they came in for the entire game. And because we all know that you guys have such shithole defense that the guy will have to stand on his head. Which still would have been funny if we won regardless, and he played like Vladar. Oh, that would have been funny.
I agree with that actually. As much as I want this team to tank, it actually would be hilarious that if the E-Bug goalie had to come in and then the Flames somehow still won. That would be the win of the season.
Oh God, yeah. Fuck the playoffs, fuck everything else. That is the game. It's like, all right, that's good enough for me.
All right, goalie beat your asses. That's the game of the year.
We don't need to even give, and especially against Vegas. That's the inevitable downfall. You think they're gonna win the cup again? No, they lose to an E-Bug goaltender who has to play for basically the entire game, and them making saves like it's nothing. Goodbye. Good luck, Vegas.
Your fraudulent franchise just lost to an E-Bug goalie. You do not deserve to win a Stanley Cup.
It's just like Toronto.
Oh man, David Ayres, man.
Rip Bozo.
Wonder what he's doing.
I don't know. Apparently he's a coach. He's a coach for I saw a video the other day of what he's doing now. He actually he did a couple more interviews and whatnot. He ended up trying to be coaching for like a WHL team, and he was fired the year after. But he's a junior coach, so it's cool.
Interesting. It's but I'll talk quickly about Mackenzie Weegar's sweet goal to end that game against Vegas. By the way, I will say it looked like Backlund did get away with a bit of interference there.
Yeah,
but it looked a little bit like it though. You can't lie in that regard.
But I gotta say though, Backlund wasn't looking either.
No,
Backlund was looking over here, and
interference could be completely different ways, though, right? It doesn't have to just be if you're looking right at the guy. It can be if you're looking away from the guy, and they could still count as an interference play if they feel like the player was still in position to make a play.
Well, frankly, the other guy should have been looking too. So,
well, it wouldn't have. Well, I guess it wouldn't have mattered either way because, like, I mean, it was still. I mean, you were really going to call a power play in overtime with 4 seconds left anyway. Like, like it just wouldn't. It doesn't even matter regardless. But
yeah.
But man, it was a fun game to see. And freaking AJ Greer, man, he keeps scoring goals. And this guy has more goals than Johnny Gaudreau.
It's weird.
Just wild.
Greer, I mean, Greer just usually finishes up one of those dirty plays because Kadri's shot was one of those really lucky shots where it hit off both defensemen. I saw it hit off the first defenseman, hit off the second defenseman, and then went right to the point. I think Greer was there just to sweep it in, basically. Just perfect top corner shot. I mean, you can't ask for more.
AJ Greer is definitely anti. He's definitely anti team tank. Let's be 100% honest.
And then was it Zari or Pospisil that got another point? It was Zari because he technically got the assist, right?
I was at the volunteer event last night, so at the Dome. And basically, I think Rob Kerr was saying last night, and I didn't even realize this until now. But one more point, and Connor Zary is the all-time points leader for a Calgary Flame rookie in a single month. Isn't that like nuts?
Yeah, I can't wait for us to do nothing with him next season, along with our other rookies and Pospisil. Yeah,
people think we're all negative all the time, but that's not really the case. Like we've loved Zari, we've loved Pospisil, we've loved the young rookies. We were screaming at this organization to get younger.
Peltier. I hope to God they do something with him before the end of the season. Something.
Unlikely he'll be back probably, but until at least like February in my books, at least. Like I don't think
something. Just do something.
I'd be very shocked if he was back sooner because like that shoulder surgery is no joke.
Like, fuck. But Peltier, get Coronado back up for a couple games. I mean, I know they don't have, but like, put fucking Dubé down. I don't care. Rizhitska.
Yeah,
someone in that category, just put them down to AHL for a little bit.
Let me ask you quickly for a second. Do you think if a team came calling in and said we have a 6th round pick to offer you for Dylan Dubé, would you just take it and run?
Yeah, because it gets Coronado up. More likely, we'll be calling Coronado up. So yeah, thanks very much. We'll take it.
Whatever team gets Dylan Dubé, that's an overpay. I swear to God, if someone traded us
considerations for all I care.
If someone traded us a 5th or a 6th round pick for Dylan Dubé, I would laugh because I'm like, why? Why do you need? That's not middle and scoring depth.
We'll do future considerations for all I care. Just get someone. You want Rizhitska too? Here, there you go.
Give him away, 100%.
Oh, dude, I don't know. Again, like I said before, all I hope is, right. I mean, the first thing is, I think if there is actually the smallest possibility, I think they're doing right now is they're doing defensemen. What I hope is later down the line, they do forwards next. And then at the deadline is the goaltenders. Fucking give Dubé away and Rizhitska. Both of those can fuck right off.
Mangiapane too.
I don't mind keeping Maj, but if he's given a good offer, then he can go too.
But I think as well to that point is people like Mange, but at the same time, it's like the guy is also not getting any younger. Like he's not the same player as he was 2 years ago when he scored 37 goals. When he just like went on the monster run.
Had good teammates. He now has cut.
But he dropped off. But he dropped off after that, though. Like he had pretty much like 30 goals in the first half or something like that, and then he just had a bit of a drop off after that too. Like he scored like all those goals on the road or something like that, and then afterwards he just had a big drop off or something happened.
Well, he scored in the playoffs, so that's good enough.
Oh yeah, well yeah. I mean, hey, he is a good playoff performer.
Well, he can make the playoffs.
But hey, I don't want us to make the playoffs. That's the point, right? It's like, well, it's like, and that's my other thing too. Is like, okay, if you sneak in the playoffs, what exactly are you going to do in the playoffs? Like that's my point. Is okay. So are you okay with getting swept by Vegas just so you can say, oh yeah, we had 2 games of gate revenue, everyone, yay! Look at all the money we got from it.
This and frankly, I'm not seeing this team being one of those surprise competitors where it's a 2004 run.
No,
even
chance.
if we make it the second
chance.
line, we don't have like we have.
We don't have a Jerome McGinley. That's the thing. We don't have a Jerome McGinley. We don't have a Mika Kiprusoff. That team is not getting you any far.
We have a first line that is probably the worst in the NHL. That like if you're wanting to actually get some like we have depth, but we have depth that is
weak,
subpar.
Very weak.
Very subpar.
Not to mention too, the power play is the worst power play I've ever seen. The power play is brutal. I don't think I've ever seen a power play that's terrible. Have you?
I was gonna say last year, but no. Even last year, we did better because when we didn't work on it, we still somehow managed to get goals.
They're not working on it now. That's the thing. Like
we are.
Like they were saying on the radio, like they were saying on 960, like, well, they hadn't been working on the power play for 2 weeks. Like, what the fuck here?
Well, apparently they did. Pretty recently, actually.
Well, they didn't have excuses. I can't with the excuses anymore. For not you, but I'm just saying in general, I can't with the excuses anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Even when Huberdeau, I don't understand why we keep him on the power play line. Even when Huberdeau is,
he looked like he looked like a bit of the old Huberdeau we've seen in Calgary, like in the game against Vegas the other night. Like I don't think he was really good. Like I think he was also like very all over the place too with some of his plays and decision making process. Yeah. And his first thought is pass. You have an open net to shoot. Just shoot the fucking puck.
Dude, I remember. I think I saw an image where it was a perfect pass to Huberdeau, and Huberdeau decided he wanted to pass it right back. Like you have an entire net that is open, and you decide to pass it back. If like even and the thing is even when he passes it, he either makes an awful pass or he plays or he makes a pass that is very, very obvious and is very well can be easily picked off. So
it's unreal, man. It's unreal. And I don't know. And that's the thing too, is you can tell me all you want that Huberdeau. I mean, he's played better. Let's be honest, right? Let's not deny that either. But at the same time, I don't think personally he was great against Vegas. That's just my opinion. I think he was all over the place with his decision making the other night too. I don't think he was good against Vegas. No. In my personal opinion, despite playing well the last little bit, he just was not great that night against the Vegas Golden Knights. So I guess because we've got now 12 games to go in the gauntlet.
Yep.
It's gonna be interesting, man. It really is.
It's gonna be against Dallas again today, so I bet you Dallas is gonna want a lot of revenge. They're gonna.
Dallas still has that game on their mind.
They have the first game where they had a 4-2 lead and then they gave up 5 in a row. Right, so
yeah.
So they're gonna definitely want to say, all right. Well, we're not doing that again. So
Yeah, no.
we start with a good period, and we end with a good period with
the kind of cup contender they are, man. Like, they're not gonna lose a second game in a row to the Calgary Flames, are they? Like,
no, well, you better hope not.
If you're Dallas, you better hope not.
You better hope not, because otherwise, I'm calling them frauds.
Let's wrap this episode up by talking about this right here, right now. Just about the league in general. I just want to get your thoughts on this. Looking at the entire standings right now as a whole, the entire league standings, right?
Mm-hmm.
What team has surprised you so far?
Jesus, now I have to look up. All right,
hold on. In the first quarter, we're sort of in the first quarter, as we're ending the first quarter of the season, like, what team has really surprised you?
I should just look here. So, let's start with the good one. So,
How about the Rangers, by the way, man? Like, they're looking legit.
They are doing very well. Like, what I will say, but I think so. A couple things that has well surprised me is oh wow, Phoenix is actually Phoenix is now up against us. Huh. What has surprised me is, first of all, the Panthers.
Yeah.
Because Panthers are 28 points. They're higher than the Hurricanes.
Good. They're looking good too.
They're 3 points below the Bruins, which, again, that is a massive surprise to me. I thought they would be, again, one of those where they're going to go right in the middle, and then they're going to go just kind of at the last moment. They're going to have this nice little streak, and then they're going to be in the second wild card spot. They're doing really well.
By the way, did you see Chucky's quote the other night too, when being asked about the Panthers being doubted, in which he said, like, the great thing about being in Florida is, as compared to here, we don't see all that.
That's TSN for you, dude. That's the media in Canada in general. It's just, you don't ever fucking have that shit. And I can't deny him.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie about the Florida Panthers. I did have my doubts about them going into the year, because I thought that, well, you know what? Maybe they might regress, right? But no, that's not the case at all. I was dead wrong about.
So for the East, and then for also the East, what has surprised me for the bad is the Devils and Penguins.
The Devils is a big surprise.
Devils. They are 10-9-1, they said. Yeah. They're 13.
They're more chasing than they are, like, actually near it. That's the thing, right? And they shouldn't be. The Devils on paper look really good, right? And they should be better than what they are. But I think it comes back to the fact that their goaltending has been pretty bad. Has been not great. Yeah. So to that point, that was one of the concerns people had about despite me having them as a cup favorite, that was maybe the biggest concern going in was, can the Devils goaltending be able to manage? Yeah. And it hasn't so far, because they're already looking for another starting goalie.
Yeah. Yeah. They're I remember Schmidt. I'm looking every time I watch a Devils versus whoever, like, highlight game on on YouTube with Sportsnet, I look at Schmidt and I'm like, does he really know how, like, he's not, like, athletic, but so when you have those athletic or those less mobile goaltenders, they should be big. And I imagine Hellebuck as one of those, like, they're big. He's not big. He compresses himself and does this. He's like one of the, I'm sorry, like, as a goaltender, and I am a goaltender. If you don't have that big, if you're more of a positional goaltender, you stay big and you stay square. He's doing this. He looks like this. He's making himself look as small as possible. He's having his stick like this. And then when he moves over, he goes into a ball like this. And I'm like, how the hell do you expect it? And then even when he's trying, but every time he reacts to the puck, he reacts like a second late. So it gets past him, and then he puts his glove out. I was like, is this an NHL goaltender, or is this? Yeah. For the West, for wins, would have surprised me. Canucks.
That's
obvious.
The Canucks, man. You know, the funny thing is, I mean, as I said, in our previous show back in October, I said like I think the Canucks were going to be a team that was competing for a playoff spot, but dude, I did not think they were going to be this good. That's the thing, right? And that's been the biggest surprise for me this year so far.
Yeah, like competing for a playoff spot was going to be one thing, but they're competing for first place. They're only a point behind the Golden Knights, and the Golden Knights have lost like 3 out of the last 4 or something like that.
Well, now look who's going into full form now is the Avs.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, you watch a game last Saturday against the Avs, right? Like, dude, the Flames did not look like they belonged in the same playing field. They just don't. They just.
I'm surprised there's only 3 goals.
Sorry,
I'm surprised it was only 3 to run.
Well, Dan Vladar stood in his head
again.
That's the thing, right? And like, but just based on the Avs speed and the puck movement, dude. Oh my god, it was just like we're millions of miles from what they are.
Oh yeah,
not even close, right? So, but again, as I said in the beginning of this debate, is how about the New York Rangers in first place with 33 points?
I knew they were going to be high on the list. Like I knew they were going to be the higher, but I didn't expect
think they were going to be top of the league. Those standings.
No. I did not expect them to be literally top of the league.
I knew the Rangers were still going to be great in terms of top 10 at best for them. If not worse, like near 10th or something like that. But dude, holy smokes. And by the way, folks, Connor's just left for a second here. He's gone to get a quick skip the dish. But anyway, I'll end this on the conversation with this here. So I will wait for Connor to get back to ask him the question, but and Connor's back with us. All right. Actually, so I was actually just going to ask you here to wrap up the conversation before we wrap up this episode is looking at the stands right now, who's the Cup favorite right now based on the stands?
So quarter mark, I'm thinking is a Cup favorite.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Rangers.
I'm going Rangers too.
I'm going Rangers.
100%.
I'm going Rangers, who I'm thinking between East and West. Rangers and
Rangers
I'm not going to say Knights. I'm not going to say Knights because if there's things like overtime and whatnot that happens, they are not doing well.
Wow.
I'm thinking Avs.
Yeah, you know what? I actually agree with that. Because I actually agree with that too. I think Colorado, man, and that's the thing too. This team just won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago. This team's so fucking good. Like we talked about how good the Golden Knights are, but the Avs, I feel, are still the superior team in the West.
Yeah,
I've always felt that way.
Sorry, last thing before we do wrap up, I think one of the bad surprises or surprises in the West for like how bad they've been is the Wild. I expected them to be in the middle of the pack. They only have one more win than the Sharks. They have 4 more points because they've had 4 overtime
losses than the Sharks do.
They do, yeah.
It's wild.
Like they're
wild.
Like Blackhawks. So it goes Sharks, Blackhawks, and Wild. So it goes Sharks with 12 points, Blackhawks with 14, and Wild with 16, and then Oilers with 17.
Yeah.
So
the Oilers are still in the bottom. I mean, people say they've turned the corner. I'm still not convinced.
I'm not convinced yet, unless they actually show. Because, like, again, turn the corner as in, okay, but have you, like, their first line is doing their thing again, but what has everyone else done?
Yeah.
Not a lot.
Well, it's just like the same conversation with the Flames. Like, they are 2-1 in this last, like, 3-game stretch. We're still not convinced.
No, I'm not.
None of us are. Like, that's the thing, right?
So,
but anyway, we'll wrap up episode number 13 of the Flaming Talk podcast as a part, of course, as always, a part of the Hockey Podcast Network. We'll be back next week with episode number 14 of the Flame and Talk podcast. Connor, my man, this has been a good episode, man. I'll see you on episode number 14.
Sounds good.
That has been episode number 13 of the Flame and Talk podcast. For me, Noah Adler, and Connor Dolan, we wish you a fantastic weekend.